All right, folks. New Mexico. All right, New Mexico State. Took care of them without too much trouble. We kind of knew that's how this was going to be. It was just sort of a get-right game, get you guys in there, get a little bit of work done, let your defense do a few things, let your backups play, which obviously they did, which was good. As you can see, no problem. This is why the spread was a little bit much at 39.5. We won by what, 33? So no shock there. I thought that 39 was a bit, it's hard to beat a team by 39 unless you really want to. I don't think Tennessee really wanted to. Not that big a deal. Let's see. What up, Stingray? All right, let's see what everybody's saying in here today. Yeah, go Big Orange. Look, we're 7-3 now. Very, very little chance of going to the playoff. I don't like our chances to do that. They're about this close. No Boo Carter, of course. No Boo, where the Boo Man crew didn't show up. I don't think he was even present, is my understanding, which tells me I'm wondering if he's still on the team or what's going on there. You sit here and you think about the defense all year. In reality, our top 3 defensive backs from last year were unavailable. McCoy got injured in the offseason. Gibson got injured in the very first ball game. And Boo Carter's been unavailable because I guess he just doesn't want to play football for Tennessee. He's been disrespected in some way, shape, or form, I guess, which is whatever. So I don't expect to see him back on the team. If he is back on the team, I'll be shocked at this point. So that's just based on what I can tell. Everything I've seen on X tells me he wasn't even at the game. And, Dion can deal with him or whoever he's going to wind up with next year. I'm sure whatever contract he has will have a lot of stipulations about going to meetings, showing up, putting forth the effort, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I think everybody's saying goodbye to Boo. It is what it is. And that's fine. Look, it's, 2025. He can go somewhere else. And we'll take that money that we spent on him and spend it on somebody that wants to be here. And that's really what we got to get in the mindset of. If somebody doesn't want to be here, then go get your money somewhere else. Don't sit here and pout. Just go. Go, man, go. I'll tell you what, Kentucky's playing better. And now, granted, they beat Tennessee Tech today, but Tennessee Tech was not that bad a team. So Kentucky might surprise the world and do something special. You never know. Now, Boo was good when he wanted to be good. Okay, he was good when he wanted to be good, but he had to want it. And now, I think he accepted the money, though. I think the money was good. But, money doesn't have a bad attitude. So, Stoops. You never know about old Stoops. That would be a heck of a win if be surprising to me. Let's pull up some of these stats here and go through them real quick. Joey had a good game. He had those 2 stupid interceptions. One wasn't his fault. He got hit. The other one kind of really was. And Barney Fife played pretty decent for New Mexico. Good as you could hope from him. And, there's only so much you can do. I wasn't expecting a lot from him. Bishop had a good game. Like I said, you're playing a very small team. Jumped out to 21-0, then they scored a field goal, etc. No biggie. Nothing to really write home about. I think Tennessee really took it easy on them, which is fine. You can kind of see what they did. I thought the DaCosta guy, other than the 1 interception, played okay for them. And then George came in. Jake came in, didn't do much. Peyton Lewis played a little bit. I thought Joey had that nice run for a touchdown. That was cute. That was useful. Brazil had a couple of really nice catches, which I was pleased to see. Staley had the nice touchdown. Folks, it is what it is, okay? It's New Mexico State. I mean, how hard are we going to really try? And, they're in there. They're getting their paycheck. They're getting their $1 million paycheck to play Tennessee and go on back. So next year, there'll be none of that. You won't have that easy game towards the end of the season unless they take the 2 easy games they have and kind of space them out a little bit more. So next year, you're going to the 9 SEC games. Plus, we're playing a Power 4 team on top of that. So no more of these easy peasies, which is, I was sitting there, I was watching that game thinking, if we were in the Big Ten, half our games would be like that. If we were one of the top teams in the Big Ten. Because if you play the bottom half, you're going to be favored by 3 or 4 touchdowns every game. It's kind of how it is. Let's see. Yeah, it was kind of a military look. They went with the military look. Not everybody was a fan of it. But, I was okay. I like different looks. I like a dark mode and the gray mode and smoky gray and all that. It's just, and then I like the classics too. I like the all white with the orange lettering. So you see, everybody's different. Some people love them and some people don't. No big deal on that. Right now, let's see, Florida. Oh, Florida's ahead of Ole Miss. Are you kidding me? They're going ahead 14-10 in the Lane Kiffin Bowl. I thought Ole Miss was just going to whoop up on them, and they started out really good, and now Florida's decided to make a game out of it. Interesting. I'll be keeping up with that later in the evening. Got a couple of good games. I think UCLA's playing Ohio State at the Shoe, but Nico's out. Concussion protocol, I believe, is the situation. So I don't know about that one. And then you've got Georgia versus Texas coming up later tonight. So a lot of really good ball games coming up a little bit later. This was, it's hard to get excited for New Mexico State, but it was good to see the guys out there again, especially after an off week. Now we're 7-3. We've got a 0.1% chance of making the playoff if everything in the world happens right. We've got to have 19 losses that are just perfect. And then we got to win out. We got to beat Florida and Vanderbilt, which the Diego built, which is my new name for Vanderbilt. I cannot believe we're in the spoiler role against Vanderbilt. That just makes me want to puke. We're in the spoiler. That's not okay. That is not okay. I don't want to be a spoiler for Vanderbilt. Ugh. But anyway, 14-10 right now, folks. Florida over Ole Miss. Now we're the end of the first quarter, so we still got 3/4 of the game. But Florida's shown up. I thought they would save it all for us when we go down to the swamp and play their lights out game against us. But maybe they're going to do that against Ole Miss. Of course, I don't know. They shouldn't upset Lane. You'd better not upset Lane because that's who you want as your coach. You can't live without him. It says, go Gators. I'm fine with Joey. I hope Joey comes back next year. The nice thing about him, he never overthrows his wide receivers. And if they're open, especially deep, he hits them. He just does. Now, he's a little bit loose with the ball from time to time, but overall, I'm fine with Joey. I really like him as a player. And he's very accurate. So I hope he comes back. All he's got to do is sue the NCAA. Just do exactly what Diego did, and he'll be back. He's only played 3 years of Division I, folks. Everybody acts like they don't, telling you, all he's got to do. Now, I think he'll go to the Eastern District up in Greenville, Tennessee, which is where we went when we were against NCAA. And, of course, we won that easily. But you've already got a federal judge in Middle Tennessee in that district that's already ruled in Diego's favor, gave him an injunction and all that. So I don't think it'd be that big a deal for him to come back for a 4th year. He's only played 3 divisions. This is his 3rd year in Division I, folks, just like Diego last year. So don't be shocked if Joey's back next year if he wants to be. And I think he should want to be. I think he's going to wind up. I don't know if he'll get drafted in the NFL. If he does, it's probably going to be late round. and then he'll either get cut or he'll wind up being a journeyman or something like that. You can stay here and be the starter. Why would you leave that? And you're going to make probably a couple of $1,000,000. I mean, you almost be crazy not to do it. But yeah, I mean, I'd bring him back for sure. Here's the thing when it comes to quarterbacks. A bird in the hand is worth a lot. We learned that with Hendon Hooker. Wouldn't you love to have him another couple of years? Instead, we went to Joe Milton, and then we went to Nico. How'd that work out? And I know we went to the playoff last year, but that's because we had a great defense. It wasn't Nico that brought us there. You saw his stats. He had the worst stats in the last 10 years for any Josh Heupel offense. So anyway, yeah, make some good money. Get to be big man on campus for another year. He could be another Diego. Why would you leave that? That's what he's going to remember. Look, he's going to remember this year and possibly next year for the rest of his life. That's what he's going to remember because he's having the time of his life right now at Tennessee. Why would you leave that? It'd be crazy. So, yeah, he made a couple of bad passes. I'll agree. You know, he's going to do that sometimes, but I can tell you it could be a lot worse. Look, he's leading the SEC in yardage. He's number one. It's not even close. He's got a 300-yard lead, and he could have run it up today if they wanted to. He could have thrown for 400 yards if he wanted to, which he's done multiple times. But you don't want to, you don't want to rub it in people's faces like, New Mexico State. That's just, small club. You don't want to be arrogant and run up the score on them. That's not okay. So, yeah, here we go. We got to go to the Swamp. We haven't won there in 22 years. And then we got to beat a top 10 team in Diego built. So, yeah, Bama got beat. Clips from Jack. Oh, I saw the jackpot clip. I saw him body slam his TV and rip his shirt off. I saw all that. Yeah. Can you believe that? They were up 30-3, a 27-point lead, and they lose. It's just, you got to be kidding. That's one of the biggest comebacks in the history of the SEC, especially the way the momentum was going. So, somebody sent me a super sticker. Hold on. There it is, super sticker. Mr. Ramsey, I appreciate that. $10 bill, yo. Yeah, that was a jackpot. Got pretty. Thank you for that, by the way. I appreciate it. Yeah, jackpot's. He got a little upset. I don't know. They were beating the crap out of Texas A&M too. I mean, they were whooping them, and A&M was choking to death in the first half. They were dropping balls. They were shanking kicks. It was awful, and Marcel Reed was throwing interceptions everywhere. So, Beamer. No, they won't fire him this year. They don't owe him too much money. They'll fire him next year. When we go to 9 games, they'll fire Beamer. Him and probably Stoops will get fired next year, and their amount that they got to pay will come down. Although Stoops is going to be a lot. He'll be owed he's owed 37 right now. It'd be like 30 next year. See, they paid him a ton of money because of Texas A&M came calling back a couple of years ago, and Kentucky freaked out. And it's the same thing that's going on right now all over the place. Mike Elko just signed an extension, big one. Let's see, the guy from Nebraska. Let's see, Kurt Signetti signed an extension. So that's what's going to happen with Josh Heupel, because LSU is probably going to go after Heupel. Of course, I don't know what's going to happen with Ole Miss in Florida. It's just really hard to say, because that's such a mess. There ought to be a rule. I know you can't have a rule like this. You shouldn't go take other conferences' head coaches. That's just wrong. There's just something wrong about that. But that's the world we live in now. Everybody's got to have what you have. Everybody's got to be jealous all the time. Why don't you just leave Ole Miss alone and let them enjoy what they've got? No, I got to go take it from you. Auburn tried to take from them. Florida's just a mean girl at this point. That's all they are. They're Regina George. They just see something they want, they're going to take it. So they're trying to make fetch happen. Anyway, all right. Well, I'm going to go watch this ball game. I know y'all want to go watch this ball game too with Ole Miss and Florida. I want to see what happens at the Lane Kiffin Bowl. But nice win. You know, I didn't see anybody get hurt too bad. Hopefully, you always want to get through these not getting anybody hurt. And then move on to Florida at the Swamp. We got to break that curse. We got to break that curse, folks. Anyway, we'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay. Hey, thanks for showing up too, by the way. Appreciate it.